Colonel Wyatt hits the screen, got stories bold and keen. Old soldier, sharp and mean, tells truths they've never seen. Rugby lover with a roar, Africa flowing in his core. YouTube rants they can't ignore, his passion makes his heart soar. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Military mind, keen and wise, truths come out, no disguise. South African skies, in his eyes, hear his voice, no surprise. Retired soldier with the fight, in the dark he brings the light. Angry rants, truths ignite, join the cause, join the ride. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Enemies knocked on his door, trolls attack, but he's more with each click. Watch him soar on the truth waves, he explodes. Colonel Wyatt, hear his call, shining light through it all. Trolls may rise, but he'll stand tall. Subscribe now, don't miss the brawl. Right now, don't miss the brawl.
Take a picture. Hey folks, welcome back. Good evening. It's Chris live in South Africa, not Central Pennsylvania. How y'all doing out there? Welcome back to the program. Yeah, so tonight there's been a lot of and rightful concern and complaining from some folks about the endless questions about Refugee when there's really nothing happening right now. So, bless, what's with that hair? I'm trying to fix it. So I thought tonight just go through and answer questions as best I can. This is people's chance to ask their questions. Even if the question's asked once, I'll be happy to answer it again in this session to the South Africa U.S. Embassy in South Africa. U.S. Embassy in South Africa site. I've gone to President Trump's Truth social account, and I've scoured all those. There are no new developments. All kinds of people sending things around. I've been getting it pummeled by people who somehow have acquired my number, which I never gave to them, demanding answers or asking for answers, reaching out, and consuming an awful lot of my time, which is very unfair. Simply watch the videos, at least have the courtesy to do that. I put a lot of time and effort into this, and I do need some time for myself. But one of the issues keeps coming up is people sent me screens, captures, and the text of a supposed press release claiming that President Trump is giving priority to old South African Defense Force veterans. I don't know where that fantasy was created. There's nothing at this White House. There's nothing at President Trump's Truth Social, and there's nothing in the executive order, and there is nothing at the South African U.S. Embassy. So I don't understand where people are making this crap up. I wish they'd stop it because it's counterproductive and not particularly helpful. Sorry, I'm adjust that a little bit there. So let me just go ahead and get started here. Ron says, previous video I asked about Jacksonville not running up and down for baby. I know it's the same as discussed before. At one point I was confused about Monty Jackson. Oh, sorry about that, Ron. Yeah, no. Okay, so Representative Ronnie Jackson, a Republican of Texas, 13th District, if I recall correctly, used to be President Trump's personal physician. In his first term, he was President Obama's personal physician as well. Navy officer, retired as a captain, colonel, same as me, if I'm not mistaken. And he has introduced a bill which is looking at targeting or evaluating the relationship between South Africa and the United States, and then potentially targeting ANC officials and government officials for their misconduct. So that's that bill. Then there's a bill by Troy Nehls. Maybe he's 13th as anyway. Troy Nehls is also a Texas representative in the House of Representatives, and he's got something called the Afrikaner bill, which is a butchered acronym to talk about getting Afrikaners to the United States. That is different and has nothing to do with the president's refugee offer. It's just another one that puts it in law and actually extends it to much more generous terms, allowing people like in Dubai, who asked earlier, and people in the UK to ask to come to the United States if they're not Afrikaner, which is highly unusual, but that's what's in it. So I hope that answers the question, Rowan. Adele Visser, Tanette is Mari Kruger, Rowan, Bernard Crawford, Vilma Erasmus, good evening to you. Early Bird, twice in one night. How lucky. It's not the first time, Early Bird. You obviously some new subscribers here. Sometimes I broadcast for 8-9 hours at a time. Sometimes I do 4 or 5 broadcasts a day. It just depends on what events are taking place. This stream is prompted by all of the people asking questions during the news, and then some smart ass saying that, well, that's lame. That was the news. There's no news here. I did 18 stories, even though I was interrupted by refugee questions. I don't know if they're, my supposition is maybe they want news in the refugee program. Well, I mean, I don't know what you're looking for here. There is no news. So, Thomas Engelbrecht says, "Goedenavond allemaal. Ik vrek te weten wanneer ons zal komen." And I say, okay. Well, I don't know when you're going to be able to come to the USA, and I don't know when you'll be able to apply for it. So hopefully we'll find out soon. Grantel, hello to you. Reg Dodd is back. Thomas Engelbrecht. Extem sam AI. Whatever. Candice Steiden, welcome to you. Elmarie Taylor, Tim Forster, Adele Vissers. Okay, it's all the Afrikaans here. Okay. Felicity Duprier, Jan van Vollenhoven. Obviously, the conversation's not to me. I mean, you guys just want a chat session. I'd recommend you use X. You can chat there all night long. Simone Bresch, welcome to you. Thank you for your membership. I do appreciate it. Stevie Newbold, what's going on, Steve? Ginger to get rid of the flu. Okay. Welcome, Miranda. Jason Bernard. A little expected. Hopefully, some good news. No, there's no news. Just I'm here to answer questions since people seem to have questions, and now people are going to be shy and not asking questions. What's with the tunes? What's wrong with the tunes? Bergmeister, what's going on? Jaco Basol. Okay. Good evening, Rakes. Good evening, Cycling Journeys. Chris Stander. Christian Morkel. Good evening from Cape Town. Hey. Hoping the program will start before July. Things are starting to get bad at personal level. Somehow my employer found out my latest. Suspended you. Suspended you? For what? See, this is criminal. This is criminal. That doesn't make any sense. I want the name of your employer. I want the name of your employer. And I will engage an attorney. This is bullshit. That's exactly what Trump said, and they're just proving it to be true. Holden Caulfield, what's up? What's your question? Hey, Dylan. Aliens can come. Dina Oosthuizen, good evening. How are you doing? Well, it seems like I have a bit of a cold or something here. It's just a touch of it. I mean, I had a sore throat from talking so much. Now that the clogged nose last night, runny nose night, it might also be the temperature. I'm fine when I was in another place. So I don't know. Well, Johan, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. No, it's just later. I'm not excited now, Rex. Yeah. There's MC Preenel. Hey, Renell, what's going on? Thank you. Momo's here. Good evening to you. Here's my valid question. I have a previous lung condition that has been treated and I'm healthy since what this week last was. Very entry. Well, it really doesn't help me out. I mean, do you have tuberculosis? Do you have active tuberculosis? That's the issue that's concerned. That would be what the U.S. government's concerned. We don't want to import TB. That's why people get chest x-rays. If that's what the issue is, if you don't have active TB, then it shouldn't be a problem, but you will be tested for it. Reetha says, I now know for a fact that passports definitely must and unabridged birth certificates for minors. Well, I don't know how you know that, Retha, other than my estimation, my expectation was you had to have one. So I'm not sure we got the information, but I don't doubt it. No, no, LB, there's been no clear definition regarding minorities. Well, how can I tell you if it includes those people? Because there's no definition given yet. It's not farmers. Please stop. There's nothing before. Where do people get this horse shit from? It's never been about farmers. It's never been about farmers. It's never been about farmers. Someone show me in the executive order where it says farmer. Someone show me where it says white people in the executive order. It doesn't. Please stop spreading this nonsense. It has nothing to do with either of those things. And please stop believing bullshit that you're being fed by South African media. Nothing to do with farmers, folks. Nothing to do with farmers. I don't know where that bullshit got started, but it's wrong. It's nothing in the. I mean, it's not hard to read the executive order. It's 2 pages. Yeah, people listen to any jackass that tells them anything. You don't have to listen to me. I'm telling you to read the executive order. It's on whitehouse.gov. Go back to February 7th. It's there. 2 pages. No mention of farmer. No mention of white people. Nothing. It says Afrikaner suffering unjust racial discrimination. And it talks specifically about in education, in business, and also in, so it's please, I'm not picking on you, LB. I'm just saying that I'm really getting tired of hearing the farmer thing because it's just horseshit. It really is annoying. Harold Menges, what's this? This is a refugee program. What would stipulate between being approved versus denied? Well, refugee program, you normally have to prove that you've been persecuted or have a genuine, legitimate fear of persecution. However, if you're placed in a certain category, which it appears President Trump has done in the executive order, then you wouldn't have to prove that. The mere fact you're a member of that category of people should allow you to get in. However, you can still be negated for things like criminal history. If you're a murderer, rapist, a pedophile, probably not going to come to America. We're not importing those people. Also, if you have active tuberculosis, you're not coming to America. You might be put somewhere and isolated, but you're not coming to America. Things like that. CJ and Maggie. It's the long road for the, what's this? Oops. God bless it, jumped. Like a long, what the heck happened? It jumped on me there. This is one of the biggest problems with YouTube. It really jumped there. It's like a long road. The possible program is there are no additional staff or spaces being hired. Cape Town. Okay. Okay, see, why are you making that assumption? The embassy isn't doing this. I've said this over and over and over again. The embassy will not be doing this. That's not their frickin' job. The job of the American embassy and consulates in South Africa is not to deal with refugees. There are no hires for PRM. They're based in America. They will come their happy asses over here on a temporary duty basis to perform the program. Easy peasy. So I don't stop with that nonsense. That's once again, that's nonsense right there. And how do you know there are no additional staff spaces being hired? How do you know that? Do you have an inside track? Or are you going to USA Jobs and looking at that? It has nothing to do with it. PRM. If you're worried about jobs, you need to look at PRM. That's the people that do it. Not the American Embassy, not the consulate. They don't have time for you. They got enough stuff to do. They got real jobs, day jobs. They don't have time to piss around with refugee stuff. That's not their job. I've said this many, many times. I'm glad we're having this session tonight because I see a lot of fake news, a lot of false assumptions, a lot of uninformed information that's being spread out there that you're somehow coming across. No, there's nothing to do with it. PRM handles it, not the embassy. It's not their job. Yeah. Okay, guys, get off the vitamin C kick. So is exercise, but I can't do that. I'm up for a coffee. Jason Baxter, when? Right now? It's a bit late for a coffee, but thank you. Steve who? Steve Hofmeyer? I'm not aware of refugees having landed in the States. I'm not saying it's not possible. Hey Liz, how's it going? Grim Reaper, thanks for cutting through all the negative noise regarding the refugee program. Try not to listen to all the media noise. Some of them important to be on the Afrikaner side. Yeah, no, guys, you don't have to believe me. I mean, I tell you where the information comes from. And then I'm giving the free value of my experience in embassies, having dealt with refugees, having been all over Africa, and also 36 years in the U.S. government. You're getting that for free. I'm not asking for anything other than the subscription, which I'd appreciate. We did go over 80,000 tonight. That was pretty exciting. Wish it was 100,000. That'd be really exciting. No, I mean, I've got no dog in this fight, other than you're not going to be on my lawn. That's the only dog. So. So guys, I don't know where this stuff is coming from, but you're getting all kinds of stuff that's coming at you, and there's only 3 sources of information that are reliable at this stage. Well, 4 if you want to count. There's 2 bills in Congress, but those bills don't mean anything. They're not even in committee yet, so don't get excited about that. If it gets through committee and goes to the Senate, and gets to the Senate, and goes to the president's desk, then you can get excited. But in the meantime, that's just a fantasy league. The only places for information are the president's Truth Social account, whitehouse.gov, and the embassy in South Africa. None of them have any changes. Why haven't I packed NyQuil? Jack up, because you can't bring liquids. I can't bring liquids. You can't bring liquids. Not allowed to carry liquids. I don't think it's high about hay fever. Steve says, question I think most people want to ask you is, when does the program begin? That's a good question. It's a fair question. I have no idea. No idea. I do know about a proof of concept that's underway. That I can say is going on. Josar Smith just gave $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I've been to Highveld many, many times. I've never had hay fever. The Afrikaner Act states it does not exclude people who qualify under other visa options. Is USA. Do you think? No. Yes, South African Farm Girl. I think the purpose of it was to include those folks, but also includes people living in other countries who happen to be Afrikaners who want to come to America. And that's going to be problematic. That is going to be problematic. If that becomes law, that means people who have been living in Australia for 20 years would automatically be eligible to come to America just because they're Afrikaners. That's dangerous. I don't think Troy Nell's bill is going to pass. What is the threshold which a president can transfer weapons? The Arms Control Export Act of 1961 and subsequent additions to it. The president doesn't have the authority to ship weapons to any country legally. Ronald Reagan got in trouble for that, shipping weapons to the Contras in Nicaragua without congressional approval. Congress approves that. It's a law. So the president can't send weapons to a country. Oh, thank you, Real. You didn't have to, the Real Wesley, you didn't have to share your personal conditions, but thank you for sharing that. I don't know, some malformations. Well, look, medical issues aren't an issue for a refugee other than you need care, but it isn't a condition of prevention from going. Guys, I think people are misunderstanding what's going on here. Let me be clear about this again from the very beginning. This is not immigration. You're not immigrating to America. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how gay you are, how straight you are, how manic depressive you are, how cancer-ridden you are, how type 2 diabetes afflicted you are. It doesn't matter. Your life is in jeopardy. I guess because no one's at your door right now beating on it and shooting in your house and there's artillery going off around you, people aren't realizing what's going on here. I mean, this is the problem. Morons in the South African media and politics, and morons in some organizations purporting to represent Afrikaners, don't know what the fuck they're talking about and run their mouths all the time. This is not immigration. This is not asylum. This is a refugee program. I guess if we start a war here and chase you all into Namibia and Botswana, maybe then people begin to understand how a refugee program works. This is an exception. Not unprecedented, but highly unusual. Cuba, Bosnia-Herzegovina, and a small number of other refugee programs granted refugee status to people who are not, none of you are refugees. None of you meet the standard of refugee. Legal, none. Except that President Trump has declared you a group in jeopardy and peril. Therefore, you will be granted refugee status if you meet those conditions. So that's the bottom line. Does that make sense? Because I know how many times I say it, people still don't get it. Okay. I want to find out if a dumb question. My 16-year-old son has no passport. His father's missing 4 years. Do you think you'll be able to take him? I know. I doubt you'll be able to take your son without a passport, Lorraine. I mean, as Aretha said, she knows something. Maybe she's not sharing, but that's fine if she knows something from people who've gone to the States. Yeah, so maybe there are people in the States. Maybe Steve Falkmeyer's get better information. Maybe people betrayed me and didn't tell me the truth about going. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. So I don't know. I don't know about that. All I can tell you is that another part of this seems to be lost on everybody is that the South African government has to let you leave. Do you honestly think the South African government is going to let you leave through a port of call without a passport? Do you know how pedantic these people are? I mean, a guy wrote the wrong date in my passport and they told me I overstayed my visa, despite the fact that I get 90 days automatically and I've been in the country for just 20 days. They were going to ban me for 5 years. I had to spend 6,000 Rand to get that shit sorted out. Oh, Rand, I'm sorry. Your kid's going to have a passport. So go get him a passport. It's not a dumb question, by the way. It's a good question. As far as the father missing, I don't, what do you mean by the father's missing? Is he dead or just gone missing? Nobody can locate him? I guess that's what you mean. But I don't know the state of that because you can't take kids out of this country unless you have the consent, written legal letter from a lawyer, from the parent, indicating that they'll allow you to take the child out of the country. Otherwise, you're not getting the child out of this country. It's as simple as that. I mean, that's South Africa. We have no control over that. None whatsoever. I hope that makes sense, Lorraine. Jared says, I have an adopted daughter, but her dad has left the country and no way to contact her. Will that be an issue? Yes, it will be an issue. You're very welcome, Jared Vessels. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Yeah, it is an issue. South Africa is the ones with the issue. You can't take a child out of this country without a letter. And see, this is the problem with getting divorced or never being married or having kids and, mixed blended families. You have to have approval. I've met several people who are divorced from their spouses and their spouse refused to give them the letter. They have a problem. And it's not the refugee program. It's South Africa. South Africa. But I mean, you can understand why, right? I mean, you have people claim that, well, I'm divorced, and then my spouse was at fault, whatever, yada, yada, yada. I want to take the kid out of here. Well, the fact that you want to take the kid out of here doesn't abrogate the parental rights of the other person, even if they're a reprobate. So, I mean, understand why the law is there. Charles Van Alton is here, the voice of reason. G. Sawyer, also been let go from a job because I fought and wanted to open a case against the company when no action was taken against G manager. Well, I mean, that's okay. That's wrong. It's morally wrong. That's legally actionable, but I don't think we'll get anywhere. But I was talking about cases related. I think that's it. I'm not in the mood for this tonight, Holden. Not in the mood for it. What time was that? 10:11. Way behind here. Wow, I'm way behind. Why do those messages disappear? I don't understand this sometimes. How I get them in one place and not the other. Anyway, Holden, you got a break because I can't get to that statement. I was going to give you a timeout. South African Farm Girl, I don't know what you said previously, but what you're saying, especially that we're already here and contributing to the economy, left South Africa with fear and due to well, there's no evidence of that. There's no evidence you left for that reason. Your argument, I understand where you're coming from. Your argument makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. The only argument that makes sense that I think you're getting at is that it's perhaps unfair that you can't apply for the program because you're already out of the country. And if you go home, you're in jeopardy. I think it's a fair statement. I think that's where you're going. But it makes all the sense in the world that you can't apply from there. That's what the law says. That's what the law says. So we comply with the law. We're not a lawless country. Well, we were under Joe Biden, but we're not anymore. Thank you, Dylan. What happened to 30 approved people that already left the U.S.? No 30 people left for the U.S. Where are you getting these fairy tales from? CJ and Maggie, I covered this last night. You must not have been here. I'll cover it again, though, because this is a session to answer those questions. My analysis would indicate to me, based on looking at the facts, that the people in the proof of concept program will probably be used for purposes that will be helpful to the United States. Specifically, I suspect that unlike most people who go to the United States as refugees, there will be big fanfare. Those initial people whose identities and whose departure dates have been kept very secret by those involved on the U.S. side, but not the South Africans themselves, who seem to have big mouths. They will be flown most likely to D.C., where they're likely to do a press conference after meeting with the Secretary of State and or the President, Vice President. Yeah, and they will that will be done to send a clear message to the ANC about what's going on. Also, all the doubting Thomases and lying sacks of shit out there that say there's no program. There'll probably be a press conference. It'll be a big deal. And then they probably don't know where they're going yet for security reasons. And then once the press conference, and they're fed around D.C. for a couple of days, maybe even talking to members of Congress for all I know, and then they'll be sent to wherever they're going. And the floodgates will open. That's my expectation, CJ. Okay. I think the people are shocked that someone paid attention to the current issues. Perhaps Joe's R. Smith, but the fact that they weren't listening to me perhaps is why they're shocked. When do you believe the refugee program will become fully operational and start large-scale resettlement? Well, relaxing positive energy. I've answered that question twice in this show, but I'll answer it a third time. I have no idea when it'll start. I need more information in order to make a projection. I could have started by now myself, but I have a feeling that it will, no evidence based on very sparse information and also based on information some sources gave me, which I can't account for the reliability of that information at this point, but logically it makes sense. I would expect to see it start taking place. And I don't know what large-scale resettlement means to you, relaxing positive energy. What does large-scale resettlement mean to you? You want to give me some numbers? Too cuddly, so no ETA or expectation on the ETA of the refugee program. Well, are you asking or making a statement? I mean, I see a question mark at the end of that, but I mean, I've answered that question 4 times in this program already. Don't know. No one knows, except the State Department and Department of Homeland Security. Johan Peter say it would be very interesting if while you're here, talk to Rob Parasoff, Neil DeBeer, and the Black Podcasters. Well, Johan Peter say once again, obviously people don't watch my content. I've said endlessly that I have talked to Rob Hersoff. I spent Easter with Rob Hersoff. I went to a business lunch with Rob Hersoff, and I was supposed to do a recording with him, but he had to go pick his son up at the time. It took me too long, my gimpy leg, to walk back from Parliament 2 kilometers to get back. And it took me half an hour. If I could have got back in 10 minutes, then I could have done it. But anyway, so I have talked to Rob Hersoff extensively. I met with Neil DeBeer the second day I was here. Neil DeBeer and I had a meeting at Harbor Island in Gordons Bay. And the Black Podcasters, well, I will be on a Black Podcaster tomorrow morning at 10:30. I'm being interviewed by DJ Sabu. And Pofa Walsh made a mealy-mouthed excuse, and Panul never bothered to respond. So, people that are afraid to being taken on, which is not my intent. So, yeah, Johan, I've talked about all this endlessly for the past 3 weeks I've been here. But thank you for the advice. It's a good recommendation. It's already been done. But Pofa Walsh made some excuse, and Panul didn't bother to respond. What is Vic? You mean Vicks Vapor Rub? No, I don't, Liz. Waiting is killing me. I don't think so, Sandy. Because on February 6th, you had nothing. So how is this killing you? That's what I don't understand with folks. Well, how is this killing you? Why are people so upset? On February 6th, you had nothing. There was no program. There was no announcement of any offer. Now there's an offer. But much like getting a custom-built car or computer, it takes time to deliver. Lucinda, having coffee is very difficult. Everybody and their brother's asking me for coffee. I've got 6 messages tonight. People send me messages at 9:30 at night, going on 10 o'clock, asking to have a coffee. My time is very circumspect, very short. I apologize for that, but it was very important to go to Uppington this trip. An 89-year-old woman I must interview, and I would regret if I didn't go there now and she passes away. That would be foolhardy. So that took priority and precedence over coffee. But my schedule's pretty full. Be very flexible, and you'd have to meet me somewhere or something like that. I've got out of my way. I met a single family for a private meet and greet in Parle. It's one family. I had a Parle meet and greet. I mentioned it, and they're the ones that asked for it. They showed up, and other people said they were coming. Nobody came other than them. That's fine. And then afterwards, the next day, people said, oh, you were in Parle. Well, I wish I'd known. Well, I wish you'd watch my broadcast. Then you would know. Or at least read the post, the message board where I post these things. So anyway, but as far as Benoni, I'll be near there. Tomorrow I've got an interview at 10:30. I've got to go through my bags, pack all my crap up so I can drop it off tomorrow night. So when I come back from Uppington, it'll be here because I'm not carrying these suitcases to Uppington. I'm not even authorized that much on the Airlink flight. So go to Uppington, do that meet and greet, do that event, interview that lady, come back here. But tomorrow at 10:30, my interview with DJ Cebu. Then it's off to the meet and greet at the prison break. Meet and greet tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And then after that, I've got to drive up Pretoria. And then after that, people ask me to do this, ask me that. I'm not really sure how that's going to pan out tomorrow. So sorry, but listen, I'm happy to have it, but the problem is timing. People asking for things last minute too. I mean, people have known I've been in South Africa for 3 weeks, and I'm just now getting requests when I show up in Gauteng. I've said my intent all along. I said where I was going. I said I'm going to KZN. I'm going to Eastern Cape. I'm going to Gauteng. I'm going to Northern Cape. Said it all along, and then people ask rather late. So I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not angry at anybody. I'm not saying anything bad to anybody. I'm just saying that there's only so many things a person can do. I'm bending over backwards to accommodate people and listen to people. I've had some real nutters give me some things. I've had some wonderful people I've met. I've had some great coffees, some fantastic meet and greets. I do my best. I am one person, and I'm trying. Do you think only Pretoria will be used for applications? No, I don't. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense, but I have no information. I'm just analyzing what should happen and how we would do it. I mean, the fact that we have 4 consulates in this country is highly unusual. That's unusual. If we have 4 consulates in the country, why would we have just one location? The consulates can serve as, an operating base, and the people do the briefings elsewhere. Come on. God bless it. This thing has just jumped on me. Sorry, guys. The chat just jumped up like 20 minutes, and I got to go all the way back. Oh my goodness. I got super chats here I didn't even see. Why is that not popping up, the super chats? Sorry, folks. Third box is on, but it's not coming up. It's not working tonight. Come on. What's going on? Oh, you like the hair? Thank you, little Miss Know-It-All. I'm trying to get back here. Wow, I am way behind. Okay, that's where we're at. Okay. Do you think only Pretoria? No, I don't think Pretoria. That doesn't make any sense. But we don't know. We don't know. But if I were running the program, I would have, as I said before, Bloemfontein, maybe not Bloemfontein, maybe Pretoria, make you drive further, but Joburg, Pretoria, Durban, Cape Town, Uppington, possibly Bloemfontein, and PE. That's what I would do. Byron said that Afrikaans USA will lose their culture. They will become like unique Cajun, French, Louisiana form. Yeah, well, I've also said that there's a very risk of that from the very beginning, Brother Louis. I said it from the very beginning. I warned people from the first night. I said that this is not immigration, that you're coming to a country where you're likely going to assimilate. And if your culture is important to you, that by your grandchildren, they will be fully assimilated to be Americans. They won't be Afrikaners. And if that's important to you, then it's something you have to consider. I've said that long before Byron said that because it's the truth. It's a reality. You think that the Louisiana Cajuns, there are all just a handful of them. I was in the Army with one of them, my basic course. Great guy, Blake Thibodeau. Can barely speak French, but he's French Cajun. So that's a culture that's mostly a myth that doesn't really exist for the most part. There's just a handful of people down there. And the only cultures that retain that sort of unique distinctiveness for the most part in America over a long time are the Amish, the Mennonites, and the old Spanish families of the Southwest. It's highly unlikely that you're going to be able to pull that off, Brother Louis, because you're not settling en masse. You're settling people all over the country. Unlike the Haitians who were illegally dumped in one town in Springfield, Ohio. It just isn't going to work. Not to my knowledge. And are you guys, what's going on? Somebody trying to punk me and test me here. You all keep asking the same question about people landing in states. Why are you asking that? Somebody at least earlier had the courtesy to tell me that Steve, whoever Steve was, I assume they're talking about Steve Hofmeyer, had said that they landed there. I have no information. Any feedback on how the first group is doing? They didn't go over. Where are you getting this from? Where are you hearing this from? Please tell me. And if they went over, why haven't we heard anything? No, Christine, you can't come back to South Africa. Okay, again, you're missing these. You think this is an immigration program. It's not. We don't send refugees back to Somalia to be murdered. We don't send refugees back to Sudan to be murdered. We don't send refugees back to South Sudan to be murdered. They come to America. They're refugees. They're given protection. But that protection doesn't extend to South Africa, so you don't come back. That said, there are rare exceptions for family emergencies, deaths, and things like this. But people keep acting like this is Francois will assimilate in 2 weeks. Okay, there you go. Yeah, why would you want to come back? If it's so bad you have to leave, why would you want to come back? I mean, that's the first question. I mean, honestly, why is anybody interested in a refugee program that wants to come back to South Africa? I mean, I think that's a fair question. Well, Charlie, both. If you don't have money for passport, I don't know what to tell you. You have to get a passport, most likely. I mean, I don't know any other way around this. How are you going to get through South African immigration officials without a passport? How are you going to get through them to fly to America? Captain Slow. If you don't have money for passport, then make a plan. A Boermucking plan. How can you not have money for passport? You have relatives. You got something you sell. You do GoFundMe. Look, I'm not picking any, Charlene, but I'm just saying that we don't have money for passports. Ain't going to fly. People have been saying that for months, but somehow have come up with money. We've had members of my channel pay for other people. Chris Ayler's paid for somebody's passport to get them a passport. I mean, this is, we don't have money for passports. I'm sorry. Then your life's not in jeopardy. You don't really need to leave. And I'm not picking on you. And please don't infer that. But I mean, you have to look at this realistically. If you can't be bothered to find a way to get money for a passport, if it's not that important to you to get out of here, then you're not that desperate to get out. That's not my words. That's how it's going to be viewed. I'm just being frank with you. Where can we download the list for interviews? There is no list for interviews, Hunley. There's no such thing. Every interview will be different. Depends on who's doing the interview. Here, do research, watch all the videos. It's a big step to go over the U.S. It's all about facts and research. Yep. Yep. Well, Jonathan, once again, your facts are wrong. Your facts are wrong. Your facts are wrong. 300 per day? No, 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 no. The complaint from the liberal media in the first 3 weeks that he did the program is that he was only deporting about 1,500, 3,000 people per day. So your facts are wrong, and that number's been picked up since then. So I don't know what you consider mass deportations. I guess you're looking at the total number, 30 million illegals, and that's what you're looking at. I suppose that's fair. But I would say 1,500, 3,000 people per day being deported is pretty mass to me. Josar, I know people are desperate to leave, but that doesn't, again, people don't understand what we're talking about. Many of these questions, people act like they're immigrating. Can I come back to South Africa? Can I do this? Can I do that? No. It's refugee, not immigration. I know people are desperate. If they're desperate, they'll find a way to take care of things. New people should need exactly. Thank you, Morsh. These people are just showing up here now. Should have the courtesy to go watch. Can one of my mods put the Substack link in, please, for the channel, for the Substack? Indabaafrica.substack.com. Indabaafrica.substack.com. Go there. I've done so many videos on this. I've explained the finances. I've explained the priorities. I've explained eligibility. I've explained background investigations. I've explained what's fake, what's real. I've exposed people who've lied. So please check out the videos. It's not a lot. But I did say I was going to answer questions tonight, so I'm answering them as best I can. I ask who will be dealing with it in America. Dealing with what, Retha? Dealing with what? With refugees? Well, PRM. will process you, and the Department of Homeland Security takes responsibility for you when you arrive in the States. They will distribute around the country where there are non-government organizations that provide services to refugees, which we pay for. Right now, those organizations are pissed off at Trump because they're not processing refugees. They're not making any money. They only make money when they import people to America, these NGOs. They're not in it for good because they're wonderful people. They're in it for money. That's why they're all complaining about Trump. But that's who will do it. You like the haircut? Thanks. Oh, Mark Harmon. I thought about that. My birthday's on Christmas Day, Sandy. See, again, new people. My birthday's Christmas Day. That's hence the name Chris, which isn't even my name. Hugo Bassan is saying, if no passport, you'll then be issued travel documents. If you may be somehow possible, try to get a passport. Well, Hugo Bassan, you're making an assumption, which is something I said is based on existing refugee programs. People who flee from Sudan and wind up in Chad have no passport because their homes were burned, everything was stolen from them, or they never had one to begin with. They oftentimes don't have identity documents. The UN issues identity documents. The U.S. will issue travel documents. But again, will South Africa's government honor a travel document? You think a letter from the U.S. Department, the Department of State is going to be satisfactory to the South Africans to let you leave the country? Maybe it will be, but we can't count on that. Hence the reason for the recommendation to get a passport. Mzansi loves can. My pro chef sent the email, patiently waiting. Well, thank you for that. Johan Peterson, he said, Neil and Rob, please talk to Chris. They do. I've met both in person, Johan. I'm not sure. What are you saying? What are you saying? I've met them both in person since I've been here. Loretta says, one of my concerns is about so many people in South Africa. It's not even aware of refugee program. Example, white squatter camps. Well, I'm going to a white squatter camp in Pretoria on the 11th. That's why I have to get through the, have to go early. So go after the medical, some doc's going to see me that morning. Then I'm going to go to the squatter camp. Then I'll be probably late to the meet and greet, but I will be going to squatter camp. But I can't go to all of them. Can't go to all of them. I don't have enough time, but I will go to a squatter camp to talk to them. They need to hurry up. We're sort of out of time. I'm sorry too, Cuddly, not to be cold and uncaring, but they don't have to hurry up for anything. This is a gift. It's a gift. They do this at their own pace. It's a bureaucracy. So, but I appreciate what you're saying. Peter wants to have a lovely evening. My wife wants to watch meteor shower. Oh, okay, that's cool. 3 families couldn't go of those that were interviewed because they had no passports or bridge birth certificates. All right, who's running their mouth? I mean, see, this is why people aren't going. This is why people aren't going. Not you, the veil. The fact that someone has told you that, the fact that someone claims there's people there, that's why nobody's going. Because people can't keep their mouths shut. You can't trust people. You give them a gold ticket to get to safety, and they run their mouths. Where is this information coming from? Where is this information coming from? Can we brine the U.S.? Where do you get its gas barbecue? I don't use gas for barbecue. Where do you get these stereotypes? Are you watching Dallas or the Jersey Shore? When I do a barbecue, it's with coal. Gas? Who uses gas? I don't use gas. Netherlands wood fires are illegal without a permit. I'm not surprised because there's a bunch of nanny panties. You can have wood fires in America. It just depends where you're at. You obviously can't start a wood fire in a tenement block in Southside Chicago. Elna Ayers says, I would have lost it by now. People need to educate themselves. Yeah, no, I got you. But what I hope is their feelings aren't being hurt because I'm not being rude to anybody. I'm not being condescending to anybody. I'm just trying to paint this in a format that people understand and the response you're going to get. You don't have a passport? Okay. Well, someone here said that the people couldn't go because they didn't have passports. What if I told you from the outset you should get a passport? I don't have any money. Well, that's not going to fly. If you can't be bothered to get a passport, then how desperate are you to leave? If you're prevented from getting a passport because Home Affairs sat on it, that's a different story. I mean, a passport costs 600 Rand. And I don't want to hear how much money that is. That's not much money. That's not much money. Folks, that's $33. $33. And if you got 5 kids, well, you had 5 kids, not me. Again, I'm not trying to be unsympathetic. I'm just trying to put this in terms, people are not going to be sympathetic for you if you can't be bothered to get this. It's not a lot. It's interesting. People have money for airtime, but they don't have money for passports. People have money for cigarettes, but they don't have money for passports. People have money for booze, but they have money for passports. If that doesn't apply to anybody here, it doesn't apply, but that applies to some people. Thank you for the hair. May I ask about community college? Do kids attend after 18? My son is 17 this year. How do you decide what level he is when he gets there? Good question, Early Bird. Something I've answered in several of the meet and greets. Community college is a weird thing. It's done in some states. It isn't done everywhere. It's really like the first 2 years of college. Some of them will grant an associate's degree in something, but it doesn't have much value. It's cheaper though. It's much less expensive than going to regular university. Usually because the talent teaching isn't as good, to be honest. California has extensive community college system. Many states don't have those sorts of things. Anyway, your kid will be evaluated, probably given some kind of standardized test when they arrive in the States. My recommendation is your kid's in high school and they ask your kid to repeat a year, do it. Do it. If your kid's athletic, they're going to be a year older and better developed and able to compete for scholarships. That's an advantage. That gives them a year to acclimate to America rather than the pressure being on. They'll see subjects that hopefully they've already seen and they'll be acquainted with, and they'll be able to succeed by switching over, particularly for those who speak English only in self-defense. So, that's my recommendation. So that's kind of what's going to happen there. Good question, Early Bird. The wait is just very nerve-wracking with all the rumors going around. Well, stop listening to the rumors, Oscar Papa. Stop listening to the rumors. Please explain that this visa that needs to be applied for before an interview. I don't know what you're talking about. What visa needs to be applied to? There's no visa needs to be applied to for an interview. Who told you that, Madeline? Who told you need to apply for a visa before you can have an interview for a refugee program? That's total and utter bullshit. You don't need a visa. Why would you need a visa? To go to talk to someone in an office? That doesn't make any sense. Well, more statement. I've answered 80,000 questions thus far, easily. Llewellyn L says, nobody genuinely interested in having the wall is not doing it. All right, that's it, Jonathan. I've had enough of your horse shit. 10:18. How the hell does this keep happening? Damn it. Jonathan, I put up a lot of patience with your borderline anti-Semitism, your rudeness, your constant misrepresentations. But tonight, your lies. I've had enough. You've been given a timeout. You can leave, or you can think about it and think about what you're doing here. You're gonna sit here and lie. Sit here and lie. Trump built the wall. Trump is deporting people, and what's the last stupid thing you said there? It's a total lie. Whatever. Go do this elsewhere. I've been tolerated with you for a very long time. You're welcome to an opinion, but you can't sit here and lie every night. It gets old. Jeez. Troy Nell, sponsor of contract on the second April with the bill is today has no co-sponsors. Yes, it does. No, it doesn't indicate a low possibility of pass, but it does indicate a low interest in the bill. Yep. And if you have fewer co-sponsors, then it's less likely to get pushed to the top of the heap. Yep. So Hugo, I did warn people about this, did I not? 6 weeks, 6 months, 18 months could take a while. I'm divorced. My ex has given me permission to bring my child. What would I need to bring her? You need a letter from an attorney, most likely, in which she is given her rights to let the child go. Where do I go online to show interest in the refugee status? The best way to be kept up to date with any developments. Yaku Ruas, the way you express interest is to go to the State Department email, which was published here early in the stream, the PRM, which is on the U.S. Embassy website for South Africa. Look that up. Or if one of my mods can put it in again, go send them a message, tell them a little about your circumstances, give them contact information, say you're interested, and there you go. Phone numbers, email addresses, those sorts of things. Beyond that, how do you stay up? Well, I mean, I do more reporting on this program than anybody. So you're welcome to stay subscribed here and watch my content. Short of that, the only place where anything's coming out of right now is the president's executive orders. And we're waiting for the program. So the State Department, you can check the website, but it's a waste of time. How familiar with the State Department's website? Probably not that familiar. So you can check the U.S. Embassy in South Africa for updates. You can check here, and you can check President Trump's at thewhitehouse.gov. Liz, it's not a silly question. If somebody's in epilepsy, of course we have. I mean, you think that we let our epileptics die? I mean, I'm not being facetious, but I mean, of course, if you have prescription medicine, you can take it with you into America. And you can get drugs for epilepsy, of course. We have plenty of epileptics. Glühwein would be a nice remedy. Jason Baxter says, appreciate the work. Would love to meet with you for coffee while still in South Africa. Jason, I appreciate that. I heard you say that earlier. Thank you for the 70 rand. Better late than pregnant. Hey, Andre. Just got up to go patrol and boom, you're live again. Hey, Jan Fundrill, what's going on? Could you maybe say what's your take on the refugee program, how it might run, given your knowledge? Oh my goodness, Jared, that's an awful lot to ask. Most people not most people, maybe people tonight haven't, but the 80,000 viewers I have heard this. That's an awful lot to ask for, Jared. I said I'd answer questions, but you're asking for a half-hour discussion on the topic, and that's a bit much. Let me see if I can condense it in a way. What's your take on the refugee program? Well, it's real. The President signed an executive order February 7th. It's up to the State Department and Homeland Security to draft the program. We're waiting for that program. In the meantime, it appears the small number of people, based on about 100 interviews that they did, PRM did here in South Africa, to do a proof of concept to get people over there is underway. And some of them are claiming that they're going soon. Others have big mouths, and someone claims that they've actually gone there. So I don't know the status of that. So it's happening. How might it run? Well, if I ran it, there would be screening centers in the places I mentioned earlier to screen people interested. And then I'd also give a definition of what an Afrikaner is, or switch it to ethnic minorities and go from there. The way it would work is you come in, you be interviewed, you provide some documentation they ask for. You get called back for a subsequent interview. If you're going to be pre-approved or approved to go to the program, then you're going to start going through medical examinations. And yes, we pay for all that. We pay for all of it. You pay for nothing. And then you'll be given a date when you're supposed to leave the country. And if you're available to leave that date, then you'll leave that date. If you don't have the money to pay for your flight, in normal circumstances, the International Organization of Migration gives you an interest-free loan. You pay it back after 6 months in installments, interest-free. If you can't pay it back in 6 months, then they usually make a plan for you to pay it back later. The International Organization of Migration is not a U.S. agency. It's a department of the UN, heavily funded by the United States. If you have the means to pay for your own tickets, pay for it. If you got pets, then you're going to have to pay for your own pets to go. And that's kind of how to go. And I hope that helps. Jared home. Thank you again for everything you're doing. Watching your videos and lives, along with my wife's support, is all to keep my head above water. Your lifeline to a lot of people. Thank you, Jan. A lot of people believe that, but a lot of people seem to think it was funny to hear Gareth Cliff say some people say that I'm a dangerous person. A dangerous person? Well, I am dangerous, but not for this. I'm dangerous. You mess around, fuck around the bull, you get the horns. I'm dangerous in that respect. So if the Africana bill is approved, and I'm going to say on H2A, how would you foresee it working? Well, South African Farm Girl, that bill if it's approved in the format that it's currently drafted, which means nothing because it will get marked up and changed. But if the draft he's come up with went through, it was approved unaltered, it would mean that if you're an Afrikaner and you're in America on H-2A visa, you can apply from America. But right now you can't. It's illegal. But that's what would happen if his law got passed. Renette Bernardo, wow, how's it going? Christian Merkel. It's a very unique author, Rohan. Person you said, how long before you ship out? Well, George, we don't have an answer on that. What if 300,000 people want to go? You can't ship them all out tomorrow. What if 3 people want to go? They can all go next week. I can't answer that question. But you ask a good question. Will I have time to sell my house and stuff? Maybe. Maybe not. Is your life in jeopardy? Are you at risk of being exterminated? Because if you're not, then why are you interested? But I appreciate your question. It's a fair question. I'm not being snarky. And we've talked about this in every meet and greet, and I've talked about it endlessly in this program. I don't recommend anybody sell anything. But then if a whole bunch of people leave, property values will collapse and you may not be able to sell anything. One person I know is abandoning their farm. Everything. Leaving with 2 suitcases. They feel fortunate to be alive after multiple farm attacks. Please go watch my refugee videos. Got the playlist here. We got the Substack you can go to, but I don't see any of it posting the Substack. It's in dabaafrica.substack.com. We've been so desensitized to violence and constant threat that we don't even realize our warped reality. You're right, Mzanzi. You guys don't realize your warped reality, and people aren't listening either. Yeah, Till, you think you did a good job? I thought you did a pretty good job of the hair, too. It was great to meet you in person, says Des. Thanks for what you're doing. You're very welcome, Des. You have to run this message a few more times. South African media does an excellent misinformation up. I know, Grim Reaper. I've been doing this a few more times. I've been doing this since February 7th. February 7th. Is there any loopholes, the Arms Export Control Act, that Obama could have used? Perhaps, Holden. I'm not aware of them. I mean, there may be there's certain laws that get passed, Control Act, and it's updating. But generally speaking, why? Did Obama give weapons to somebody like Reagan did? So I was virtually stuck in the deck of the USS Harry Truman carrier with Ward Carroll. Okay. Bergmeister, thank you for the 70 Rand. Fresh haircut. Colonel of Cool. Thank you very much, Bergmeister. Ronell Desmond, thank you for telling the truth, because a lot of people believe in all the nonsense. They do. They do. And some people, like Byron, claim that I tell people whatever they want to hear. Are you hearing what you want to hear tonight? And the lady, said, do I need a passport? And I said, yeah. She probably didn't want to hear that. The guy that said, that somebody said, Byron said, your culture's going to be lost. And I said, that's a very real possibility. Did you want to hear that? I don't tell people what they want to hear. I tell people the truth. Some people are just too blind and stupid to believe in the truth. Napoleon says, I've read that the USCIS gives refugees travel docs to be able to travel. Yes, thank you very much. Well done, Napoleon. And as I've told you before, that is the norm. But again, you're not listening to what I say. Please listen. Do you think the government of South Africa is going to let you fucking leave the country with a document from U.S. Customs Immigration Service? They might. I doubt it. I doubt it. That document will give you entry into the United States because we're sponsoring you. We don't need a passport for that. We will have done the vetting, the background checks. We will have given you the document. It will be approved. But that doesn't get you out of South Africa. You must leave this country in order to get out of this country. Have you gone through Home Affairs at the border? I have, hundreds of times. Not the friendliest people, not the most helpful people. So you were correct, as was I, Napoleon, when I said what you're claiming now on February 7th, 2 hours after Trump announced this program. And I've said 855,000 times since then. But it really won't matter if you have a piece of paper from USCIS, if the South African government won't let you leave. If you want to take a chance that the South African government is going to let you leave this country without a passport, more power to you. You can ignore my advice. Okay, Marsh. So now I'm going to pick on you. President Trump's refugee offer, questions and answers. Did it say update? Did it say new news? No, it didn't. I'm doing this for exactly this reason, to answer these questions. Didn't say it was new stuff. Please read the title, folks. It's very right there in the title, questions and answers. Well, Skulk, a lot of people got their passports already because they didn't sit around. They didn't sit around. I know hundreds of people who got their passport already. Um, Steve Newbold, that's true to a degree. There's exceptions if they're in higher education, something like that. 18. Give me your experience. How would you estimate the timeline? I already answered that question. Same person. Adopted children, I don't think should be a problem. If you have a complete adoption, legal adoption, that's your child. You don't need someone else's permission. Jason, is there any information you can now share about the pop? No, I can't. No, I can't. Sorry, Sonic Boom, I can't. Unlike these people run their mouths and jeopardizing people's lives, I can't share the information right now. Narinda is fed up. What are you fed up with, Narinda? What are you fed up with? What are you fed up with? South Africa or with Trump? Sandy, yes. Trump can withdraw the executive order anytime. You can override it. You can write another one. You can withdraw it. And the future president can withdraw it, but you can't withdraw your refugee status once you have it. Father's drunk and addict. Last 30 years on the street, but I don't know. Well, take South African farm girl's advice. See a lawyer. Thank you, Renell, for explaining it. Good night, Liz. Rabbit Bunny says they're processing quick 9 business days 2 weeks ago. Good luck getting a booking in the system, though the system is horrible and you almost never get an open slot. Hey, Hendo. Well, Morris, she didn't have to leave, but I mean, it's pretty obvious what the title was, man. So, I mean, but you asked kind of a snarky way. Is it just going to be questions? Yeah, it is, dude. That's why I'm doing it. I mean, people were complaining that I was dealing with too many refugee questions, so I'm making a session just to deal with refugee questions. So, I mean, if you have children in foster care, if your children in foster, what kind of question is that, DJ Music? I'm sorry. Your children in foster care. Well, you don't have parental rights if your children in foster care. So you can't have them. I don't even understand that question at all. Hey, Charmaine. Okay. All right. President Trump has declared a category of people, therefore a priority two. Under U.S. Immigration Nationality Act law, then nothing further is required. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to prove that you're a victim or that you have legitimate fear for priority two. Now, if that's interpreted differently by the State Department and the president proves it, then that's different. But the way the executive order is written, you don't have to prove jack squat other than you're an Afrikaner. That's it. That's it. But to answer your point, specifically the question you're asking about being discriminated at work there, Madeline, yes, that would do it. And if that's happened to you, I would take any documentation you have to an interview to explain it, to strengthen your case in case they want to do it. July. Any new news breaks regarding my pro Colonel Wyatt is the first to report it and share it with us. Thank you, Werner. As we have seen over the past few months, if any news breaks, I'm the first one. Yep, thank you. You are correct. Job Moonslide, man, what's going on? I was in your neck of the woods today. So close to you. Not everybody had big mouths. Well, Retha, you may have just exposed a big mouth there. Be careful. Afraid that whatever, and if the program even materializes, things will be way overboard. South Africa is a downward spiral. Yep, that may be true. All right, now see South African Farm Girl, it's almost like you're setting me up so you can use this against me. I'm not claiming that, but your question is unacceptable that it's written. You're saying, so all H-2A workers, in your opinion, would not qualify under this rule. Oh, I'm sorry. I misunderstood that. I thought you were talking. Okay, my apologies. So all H-2A workers, in your opinion, would not qualify under this due. Well, it's not my opinion. It's the law. It's not my opinion. There's no opinion here. It's the law. You cannot apply for refugee status in the United States. You can't. It's illegal. It's against the law. It's not allowed. It's not an opinion. It's the law. Is that clear? It's the law, not an opinion. It's the law. Read the Immigration Nationality Act. I have. It's illegal. Just like you can't apply for asylum outside the United States, you must be in the United States to apply for asylum legally, not illegally like Biden allowed. It's the law. It's not my opinion. Once we arrive in the USA, how long does it take to be processed and placed? Well, you already be processed. You already be processed and placed. Normally, they don't send you there until you just fly and go to where you're going, normally. There's so much false news and people reading fake stuff and jumping their own conclusion. The easy step is relax. Exactly. Exactly. November's the G20, Adele. What's 45 for that? 40, 50,000. Oh, I think that's from a long time ago, I'm way behind the chat here, folks. As in a large number. Yeah, that's a large number. We can't take 450,000 in a few days, that's for sure. Hey, Garrett. Gandalf the Grey. Simon Swanepoel, I'm not cock internet. I'm answering your questions. It takes time to answer these questions. That's why I'm behind. I'm on live chat. Thank you, Ria Nell. I've only been doing this for 19 years on YouTube, but thank you. I'm on live chat. I'm not drinking that crap, Jan. Try not to skip people's questions. That's why I'm 58 behind. And I think you're being facetious. Perfectly fine. I get people pop in here an hour later and they're way behind. They're watching the chat from an hour ago, watching the video from an hour ago, asking me questions now. No, we have hope. We just need to be patient. Yep. It's a normal letter with my ex-husband's signature enough. We are both scared to take the letter to the certified police station. I don't know, Felicity Dupree, but I doubt that. I don't know the answer, but I doubt it. I don't think just a letter is going to be considered sufficient. You have to have some kind of legal authority that justifies it. After your meet and greet, LT saw Pinot, and there was no mistaking it was him, as he had a shirt with his name on it to confirm it. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? What are you talking about, Karen? After your meet and greet, LT saw Pinot. What does that mean? What if South goes into violence for those taking fights out? I suspect of being. What if South Africa goes into violence for those taking? Like, okay, but that's not a question. If South Africa goes into violence, what do you want me to answer? I don't understand, Jason. Sorry. Oh, now it jumped on me again. What's the investigation of the TRC? It's nuts. It is nuts. It is nuts. It's just a distraction. In your YouTube video, you made a list that you said you could download. Link below. Huh? I don't know what YouTube video. I've done 6,000 videos. You're going to have to be more specific. What is a DEIA? I don't know what that is. Or if you're asking, does the Department of Agriculture subsidize our farmers? Yeah, it does. It's one of the problems with America. We subsidize sugar, milk. Yep. You get you're getting my message later. I was referring to the Africa Act. South African Farm Girl, you're not causing me any frustration. I'm just trying to be clear to folks. And the comments when they come back aren't directed to people who are asking the questions. It's a general thing. Yeah, no, you're not causing me any stress. I appreciate your questions. I appreciate questions. But right now, it's not my opinion. It's the law. It's the law. You can't apply for refugee status from the United States. Karen, you're saying that Pinul was there when we had the meet and greet? LT and Game is not Pinul. I don't understand what you're saying. That's not Pinul. Ina Bates says, can I put my husband's info in the email U.S. Embassy? Uh, well, your husband's residence is with you, right? Then, I mean, suppose you can put his information in there. Yeah. Army 3275, you're back. Current fund of S toys. Is Taco Bell good? I will tell you it's popular. I will tell you I can. You feel the more repeated questions and recruiting KP duty. At least no one's made you a brief politician before coffee. Yeah. Illegally through the southern border, could they be processed? And nope, nope. You enter illegally, you will be deported. You're a criminal alien invader. You're not welcome, and you'll never come back to America. Yep. Time law states father has to give written comments consent unless he signed off all claim. Then you can eat his document. No way you can change laws unless you pay bribes. There you go, Patches. All right, Retha. Have a good night. Early Bird says, thank you. Your question and answer session helped a lot, Sleep. And thank you for all of your patience, for being chill, and, not freaking out my response. I'm not being snarky. I'm not being disrespectful to anybody. I'm not being rude. I'm just trying to get emphasis across. And when people ask questions, it gives the opportunity to answer the question, like the South African farm girl. That's not my opinion. It's the law. So anybody that deferred anything else, you're a Karen. You're a little too soft. Hang in there. Sorry to hear you sick, Chris. Oh, he was a few tables away from us. Really? Really? Well, I mean, Pinul, I wrote to him a few weeks ago, so he didn't know about that meet and greet. So that's the two aren't related, unless he found out I was going there and he went to listen in. That's interesting. So Pinul was at Tiger's Milk when we were there, according to LT Gama. Seriously. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. Was he spying on my meet and greet? I'm more concerned about possible violence from certain political parties trying to derail the program. Well, I'm here, you rabid bunny. That's what I've been concerned about. Been part of your channel for a while, so I take nothing personal. Exactly, Arno. Exactly, JJ. I'm just being straightforward. Thea, Hunley meant was in your YouTube video about the refugee interview questionnaire. You said there would be a list of questions where we could find it. What maybe we can ask. That's a long time ago, and I said that I was uncomfortable sharing that stuff, and I would put out there one time. I don't even have that list now. I don't even have that, so it's a long time ago, and it was shared. It was shared in the WhatsApp groups and in the Telegram groups, but you're never going to find it. It's so far back up. Master's latest smart card IDs, okay. What would be the legal recourse for massive amounts of debt people have leave behind? Legal recourse for whom, Anthony? Legal recourse for whom? Thank you, Nico. What's this? Cousin said move to Irania. His goal was not mine. Will they place me and my fiance together? Dylan, I think it's highly unlikely. You're not a family. So there's a short answer to that, and you know what the answer is. So you got to do what you got to do. I don't understand if the question is Anthony Mayer. What would be the legal recourse to mass amounts of debt people leave behind? To whom? No South African bank is going to be able to recoup that from you in America. Rowan says Pinul is very salty about this guarantee. Salty about what, man? About the refugee program or about me? Yeah, Heinrich, I got you. I mean, yeah, it's okay. Alcatraz wrote me. Don't forget to take as much eggs back home as you can keep your eggs. Gotta sleep for 10 hours, worked okay. Nope, thanks for your patience. You're a friend in our household. Well, thank you, South African Farm Girl. Appreciate your patience. Going to be late for work again. Your show is more addictive than scandal in Parliament. I'm sorry, relaxing, positive energy. We'll wrap up here shortly. Do we even have any viewers? Let me look and see. We got 353 people still here. That's quite a few. Oops, that's the news. Hang on a second. Let's see. I can close that whole window. I can close that whole window. Let's eat up a lot of RAM. Okay, back to the chat. Super weird. We applied at the end of February. My husband got his passport and he also got his green ID book. They did offer the ID, but we decided not to do it. After you left the meet and greet, some of us went to another restaurant and Chad Pinot was there. He was okay. He wasn't at Tiger's Milk. Oh, well, but okay, guys, Pinot didn't know unless it's coincidence. I asked Pinot, actually, I got in contact with Pinot back around, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, and he didn't respond. Pooful Walsh made an excuse, but he didn't even respond. So, whatever. You're welcome, Anton Mulder. Okay. Will we be blacklisted? How, Anthony Meyer? How? How will we be blacklisted internationally? Are the banking systems and credit rating systems South Africa linked to other countries? No. Who's going to blacklist you? Standard Bank? Who cares? There's no Standard Bank in America. There's no Standard Bank in the UK. First National Bank? They're not there. Capitec? They're not there. Not an issue. Why, you all trying to just bail on your debt? So you're morally irresponsible? Is that what you're trying to say? Yeah, no, Charles, it was coincidence. I'm sure it was coincidence. So he was at Suncoast. Okay. How do employees treat refugees? They don't even know you're a refugee. Why would you tell them you're a refugee? Well, it doesn't matter. It's not germane. So you're going to need to go watch the videos. I can't explain that. Go to the indabaafrica.substack.com. Go there, look up the 14 most frequently asked questions. Look at the videos. I made a video specifically on medical. Okay, it's going to take too long to explain at this hour of the night. I apologize, but you're asking us rather late in the game. Is there a chance that this refugee initiative might not be moved forward? Well, first off, there's a chance that it move forward. That's nonsense. We know it's moved forward. That's a statement of fact. Shut down? Well, the refugee program won't be shut down, but the offer to South Africa could be terminated if President Trump rescinds his executive order, but seems highly unlikely. What if the bill never passes? Well, who cares if the bill never passes? It has nothing to do with what's going on. Which bill are you talking about? Troy Nell's bill, the Americana bill? It doesn't have shit to do with this. This has nothing to do with Troy. He's trying to circumvent the law by creating his own law. It's nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. Thought refugees don't have luxury to take pets. I'm playing with my 2 cats. Karen, I don't know where you got that information from. Who told you that? There's no reason you can't take your pets. You just have to pay for it. Yeah, sure. South African Bank's going to sell the Interest Bank. Who's going to buy debt from South Africa? Who's going to buy debt to pursue you in America? That's legally you're correct, but highly unlikely. John James, if educated Americans are homeless, what future is there for? Oh, good God. Well, that's a freaking dumbass set of questions there, John James. What are you trying to troll here at the end? Uneducated Americans are homeless, or what if educated Americans? What educated Americans are homeless? What future is there for unskilled? Who are these unskilled refugees? Are you seriously high? Are you smoking your socks right now? It's kind of late at night. You must be smoking your socks. We have Sudanese, Somalis who rise to fucking Congress as refugees. Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Ilhan fucking Omar became a congresswoman. She's a fucking refugee who defrauded the government to come in the country, according to the media. Jeez, I swear to God, the stupidity of that question is beyond belief. Unbelievable. Serious? Unskilled refugees. What skill does Ilyana Omar have other than opening up her cock mouth, talking cockpot? Unskilled refugees. What hope do they have? What's Trump going to do? Anything. Is it his problem? God, he's kind of cute. Dear God. Unskilled refugees. Please show me the homeless, unskilled refugees walking the streets of America. Please. I'd like to know where. Please, somebody. Oh my gosh. Dear God, unskilled refugees. Most refugees are unskilled. Most refugees come from broke ass, broken, war torn countries where they have no education and no means, and they all succeed fabulously well in the land of the free, the home of the brave. Good God. Um, Someone had to do fingerprints, according to them, they were not working for me, so hence having to wait for card. Okay. Some are just a serious, special kind of stupid. You want to work, you'll find work. There are lots of jobs. If you're going to be picky about the kind of work, then shame on you. Honestly, I've been sitting here for over an hour, and the comments are just bizarre. So at least it's easy. Stay or leave. Exactly. If you want to go, okay, I'm going to make this very simple for everybody before we wrap up. Either your life is in jeopardy and you want a free pass with the golden ticket to America, or you want to whine about it and you don't want it. That's the bottom line. I don't want any of you to go. I don't want any of you to stay. It's none of my business. I don't care. But I do have vested interest in people getting the truth. So there you go. A common U.S. bank that operates in South Africa is Citibank, but they don't give people accounts. So bad debt lapse after 3 years, but not your record. Coming back because your wife don't like washing, ironing, and doing your own laundry. Won't up in. I like that answer. I asked about how slow activity at all American ports and high activity at BRICS ports. What? There's no slow activity American ports and high activity BRICS ports. What are you talking about? Where are you getting that from? Somebody just asked questions so dumb. Even Siri took a pause aside and said, "You know what? Just Google it, bro." Oh dear God! Thank you, Francois, for the 35 rand super chat. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, that's it. All right, folks. It's really late. I got to be up tomorrow, pack my bags, and then go to interview with DJ Sabu. So you guys have a good night. Thanks for being here. This broadcast tonight was in honor of Representative Ilhan Omar. Oh dear gosh. Oh dear gosh. Okay. Have a good night. Yes, there's a way you can email me directly. You go to the tab on the information about the channel. You click, you go down, you see the information. There's the email. All right. Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for the good questions and the silly questions. It was entertaining at the end. Karen Long, it's not selfish of you to put cats on a flight. It would be expensive, but it's not selfish. I took my cats back to the States from Africa. I took my cats back to the States from Europe. There's nothing selfish about it. It's not traumatic. It's stressful for the cats, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll survive. Hundreds of thousands of cats pull it off all the time. All right. That's going to do it, folks. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. God bless.